MyMac Podcast 968. I have the power.
And welcome everyone to the MyMac.com podcast. This is number 968. So yay, we're only some number away from 1,000. And who cares? A listener question came in and was asking us about power adapters. And this got us to thinking, and you know how hard that is, what kind of options are out there to power our Apple gear away from wherever it is that we call home? Not just that quick trip to Disneyland, but perhaps some faraway land filled with wonder, unlike anything we've ever experienced at home. Huh. Maybe we mean Disneyland after all. Yes. How are you, sir?
I am absolutely sponsorific. Thank you very much, Guy.
Terrific.
Yeah, sponsorific, I would say. Now, we did quite a lot of riding this week, you know, as I normally do.
We did.
Well, I did. You didn't.
I didn't?
Now, I know that you didn't. Most of the Good Bean Tuesday cyclists are all in Spain at the moment on holiday, you know, sun, blue skies, warmth. However, myself and another still went out on Tuesday for a 40-mile ride.
This is in your living room?
It was no, actually outside. And it was great. Well, I suppose great is kind of, you know, proportion to it being quite cold, windy, and it rained all the time. Well, I did do another ride later in the week. It was quicker and shorter and much more enjoyable. And the iPhone shows me the way. But when it gets wet, Guy, wet, I do get a bit of a charging warning because obviously the port has water in it and it doesn't want me to put the power cord in while it's still wet. So you get a... So that annoyed me a little bit about Apple. And then Apple annoyed me again. Well, Apple TV Plus, if I'm honest.
I don't know why you keep using these products.
I don't. Really, I don't. I've been watching Constellation. Oh my God. I don't know why I'm still watching it. I really do not know why I'm still watching it, but that isn't the issue. That Constellation isn't the issue, though it is an issue. The problem is actually whenever I go into Apple TV to continue watching it, there isn't a continue watching option. I have to keep finding the show. And if it's not one of their most highly rated ones, you have to go searching for it. Now, someone's going to be shouting at me. I know. Somewhere in there is either an option or a way to find it. But so far, I've not been patient enough to go looking. But anyway, it's really rather frustrating. And yes, I've done quite a lot of fiddling. Well, that's how I explain it to Mrs. Gaz on MyMac this week.
Something went through my head that I'm not going to say.
I just line them up for you to laugh at. Yeah.
It's very, very funny. Whether you would think it's funny, don't know. No. But okay. I am laughing hysterically inside my head.
Oh, brilliant. I do not want to see inside your head. What have you been doing
nobody
this week?
Does. Nobody wants that, Gaz. Nobody wants to have anything to do with the thoughts that are in my head. You remember last week I was telling you I had to start taking those antibiotics because of my podiatrist thought that I was getting cellulitis again.
Yep.
Well, I went to see a different doctor and told him what was going on, and he looked at my legs and he was like, "Wow, they're really swollen." So he gave me water pills. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So the water pills are to get rid of all of that excess water that's in your body.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
Yeah.
He's giving you water pills to get rid of water.
Oh, and it gets even worse.
Oh.
While taking these pills, you have to make sure that you drink a lot of water. So it's kind of like,
you've got too much water inside you. I'm going to give you these water pills, but make sure you drink plenty of water while you're taking the water pills.
Oh, my life. I swear to I am feeling more, and this is going to make me probably mean more to American audiences than anywhere else. I am feeling more and more like Rodney Dangerfield every single week. I don't get no respect at all.
No idea.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things going
Respect?
on, we have a guest this week, Gaz.
No, really?
We do. We do.
What do you mean, me? I'm not a guest. I'm on every week.
No, you're on every week, but we have someone else
Really?
who's going to be on this week to talk and show himself, who's actually willing to be on this show with us.
Well, that's a rarefied thing, that is.
It speaks volumes to the kind of person that this person is. So we're just going to bring him in before I insult him to the point where he logs off. And of course, I'm talking about the wild and weird and wonderful Mr. Karl Madden of the Mac and Forth Show. How are you today, sir? Thank God he couldn't hear anything we were saying while he was off camera.
We're going to have words. Hello, guys. How you been?
And he's even taller than I am. I mean, damn.
I am. I look smaller on this camera, though, I've just noticed.
What's interesting is, Guy, that Karl is actually sitting in his first floor, but he's actually recording this from his second floor.
Yeah.
Just has a hole cut out in the ceiling.
Yeah.
Sticks it right up.
Okay.
How are you, Karl?
Fine, thank you. Well, not fine, really. We just found out our place has been shut down on Friday, so that's something to look forward to. Other than that,
what, the whole place where you work is getting shut down?
Mm-hmm.
Bastards.
I know. Well, it is, isn't it? So that'll be interesting.
So you're going to have to wait and find out what the scenario is, and whether they're moving or whether you've got.
That's it. But a load of people are going to be out of work soon, so that's not good at all.
That's a shame. Well, if you're lucky enough, you'll get a massive redundancy. You'll be able to retire and do this full time.
Yeah, because everything's so cheap here in the UK at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, hard luck, Karl, and fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for you.
Yeah. And, I've been looking into retirement so I could do podcasting more often. And oddly enough, lots of people are telling me to keep working.
I was about to say, is that a threat?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that should lead into something.
Do you want me to lead? I thought you might do a better lead than that, Guy, but I'll go straight into it then.
Well, I'm so confused because I'm still on the same microphone, so we can't talk about that because I know how much you love that segment of the show.
Yeah, I do. I do love that segment, but I'm going to move on and push us, which might be, they're not that many, there's perhaps a few more than I thought, but obviously with two people now, we could have a really interesting Gazzy snippets.
So smooth.
Oscar time, Guy. Apple TV Plus Oscar disappointment. 13 nominations. No wins. That really disappointed. No comments there. So I'll move on. There's been a rare 4 GB sealed original iPhone, which has been put up for grabs and for sale. How much do you think it's worth?
Scraps.
Put in for scraps.
Is there even a 2 or 3G network anywhere that would allow you to work or allow that phone to work? I don't think there is.
Because they'll sit on the back end of those, don't they? Because even if you're in
they shut them down. They shut them down after a while.
Oh well,
at least they do here.
Yeah, but it's not about using it, Guy. It's about the investment to look at it. That's the thing.
You can't even look at it. Go ahead, Karl.
Who's going to buy it to use it for a functional phone?
No. I mean, at $190,000 for a previous one. I mean,
and you can't even take the cellophane off of it.
No, you can't. If you're buying it to keep it as a possible increase value product for the future, you've got to keep the cellophane on. So you're not going to be using it anyway. So why are we even talking about 2G?
Is even in there? Yeah. Well, because
it's a brick.
I do those things.
It's a brick. It could. No one's going to know. There could be a brick inside.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Apple ramps up work on ad-supported Apple TV plan. Boo, boo, boo.
Because they just don't have enough money.
Not happy with that.
Wait,
Tim
what
Cook
was that?
apparently.
Hold
Tim
on.
Cook
Let's go back to that for a second.
What?
What was that? They're cutting back on Apple TV.
Apple ramps up work on ad-supported Apple TV.
Oh,
plan.
I'm sorry, I missed the ad-supported part. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's because you don't pay attention, but that's
To
normal.
what?
Tim Cook makes surprise appearance during a Porsche event to talk Vision Pro.
Not car.
Because that's
Porsche
what people
today,
need to be
Porsche
doing.
Porsche last week unveiled its all-new electric Taycan Turbo GT powerhouse in a somewhat bizarre twist, says this report. Apple CEO Tim Cook made a guest appearance in Porsche's launch video alongside Apple Vision Pro. Whether he was actually wearing it or not, I do not know, but there you go.
Well, because when you're driving a sports car at 120 miles an hour, I want to look over and see that the driver's wearing a Vision Pro.
Well, I'm saying no more. Now, this'll be more relevant to Karl than you, Guy. I think you did pick up on this, but do you remember last week or during this week? I don't know when it actually happened now, but Catherine, Princess of Wales, doctored a picture and sent it,
Yes.
and all the news agencies were up in arms about it. Well, guess what? She uses Mac to alter the family photograph.
Thumbs up.
I think we could get her on this show.
Yeah. Your booking agent on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on,
Get on
though.
it,
royalty.
Dano.
Hang on, though. It's not a good advert, is it? Because her results were rubbish. So-
Were they? I
No,
saw
no.
the doctored picture and I was kind of like, what's everybody up in arms about? It didn't look that bad.
Yeah, but you can't see.
Well, it wasn't in stereo. It was a flat picture. Wait, hold on.
There we
Okay,
go.
this is the
Wow,
good
yeah.
eye. This one here. I always forget.
Well, yes and no, Karl. I agree and disagree with that because obviously it's all down to the user that sat behind the machine. But there you go.
Well, stop
Apparently,
using
Apple.
Windows Paint.
Apparently, Apple will allow users to download apps directly from a developer's website in the latest, Karl's going to like this, in the latest EU App Store rule change. I knew Karl would like that. Apparently, Vision Pro was used in a surgery to eliminate human error. A UK report describes how Vision Pro was used in surgery with the spatial computer described as a game changer. It was first used last month by US neurosurgeon Dr. Robert Masson in an operation scene in a photo which they've delivered. The headset was said to eliminate human error by ensuring that the correct processes and instruments were used throughout the operation. Now, is there software out there already, or were they just using the Vision Pro to get a bigger picture of what was going on? I don't know. No description on that. But
Well, they said they used to use HoloLens too. So the chances are they already had software. It was just being pumped through to the Vision Pro.
okay.
It was only
Yeah.
only the person that hands over the equipment that's about to be used. It wasn't the actual person going,
No. Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
usually thought that doctors use scalpels and not
So-
like big pieces of plastic to cut
So
into
I'm
somebody. I don't get
I'm assuming then that the AI is actually indicating to them that they've picked up the right instrument to hand on.
well, from what I read, it was just like showing them what the next piece of kit is they're meant to be using for the next part.
So now
All right.
anybody could now be a basically an assistant in a major surgery.
That's what
I gotta say that if my doctor has to have a Vision Pro to tell him what instrument to use next, I don't think I want that doctor anymore.
I don't think it was the doctor, Guy. You're not listening
hand
to
in the-
either of us, are you?
And stop using Vision Pros to cut into people. What's wrong with you people?
That'll be an Incision Pro anyway.
Oh, very good.
Bing.
An Apple Watch study. You don't have to comment on this, Guy. You can keep stum. An Apple
Sure,
Watch.
that
No.
always works.
There's a reason. There's a reason I say it.
All right.
An
all
Apple
right.
Watch study reveals which states exercise the most and the least. Having looked at the map, I have a feeling it might actually also be able to tell you which of those states vote in which direction. I'm not having a go. I'm just stating that possibly. Anyway.
That kind of sounds like a go.
No, not at all. Apple is to expand applied
It's
research
go-ish.
labs in Shanghai and Shenzhen amid slowing iPhone sales in China. Why that's going to help them increase sales in China, I'm not too sure. Whether it's to show a bit of commitment so that the Chinese go, okay, arsehole, not a problem. I'll buy your phone.
Was that aso?
Arsehole,
Or-
yeah, that's what.
Okay,
No, I said
okay.
arsehole. You just
Okay.
misheard it. You can go back
Yeah.
and listen again if you want.
Oh, I'll be listening. I'll be
Apparently, there was a
listening.
garage band update with an important
so.
security patch last week.
Yes, aso.
You're the one that's digging the hole, mate, not me.
What
okay?
hole? What hole? I'm trying to
You're
bring
trying to think which hole.
diversity. I'm trying to bring diversity to the show. That's all
Apple-
I'm doing, Gaz.
What you
Different
got-
languages, different cultures. What's not to like?
L-
Asshole.
I'm just looking at the pictures of each of us on this particular show. And There's
Uh-huh.
not a lot of diversity there, to be honest with you. Anyway,
Well, that's why you have to. It has to be forced in. That's why, Gaz.
No, you're not wearing glasses, Gaz. That's diversity there. Right.
and I haven't got a beard
Yeah, well, You
or
just
not wearing a
quite are.
hat.
Well, this isn't
And
much of a beard.
And I'm a ginger. I mean, how much more diverse can you get? Apple TV Plus lands a new golf comedy starring Owen Wilson. Apple is now assembling the 6.1-inch iPhone in Brazil. I'm going to be looking forward to a Brazilian. Belgium receives Apple Maps. What?
Don't wear shorts this summer, Gaz. That's true. Just
I don't know what you're on about. Belgium receives an Apple Maps cycling update. I wish we could have more here, please. Personally, WSJ reviews Manhunt pursuing John Wilkes Booth on Apple TV Plus. No idea.
they haven't caught him yet.
I don't think they have.
Do you know who he is?
No.
He's the guy that assassinated Lincoln. wasn't he?
Lincoln. Yeah. And he's still on the John Wilkes Booth 160 years later, still on the run.
Your police are as good as ours, I see then.
Yeah. They're like, okay, when was the last time you saw him? You know, he's now over 200 years old. I don't think he's moving that fast.
Behind you.
Right. Anyway, moving on. Looking forward to watching that one as well.
Yeah.
The Brave browser sees a sharp increase in take-up as Apple prompts EU users to choose. Yay, Brave.
That's the one I use.
Mhm.
That's
Do
my
you?
favorite
Oh, right.
Chromium browser. That's what I use for StreamYard and going into work and all the rest of that good stuff. I use Brave.
Don't count on a mobile app making you rich. You're likely to make only $50 a month. However, there is a tipping point, apparently. And if you start earning $1,000 a month, but sky's the limit. Absolute sky's the limit. After they hit that point, it then can reach, 2,500, 5,000. It naturally ramps up, presumably through usage and also the app itself becoming more visible on the stores.
So what is this app?
So are they paying?
Are you listening to me, Guy?
I am. All I heard you say was there's an app. I didn't hear what the name
No, I
of it
didn't.
was.
I said don't count on a mobile app making you rich. You'll likely only make $50 a month. The tipping point of making more than that is
I heard all
$1,000.
that. I'm okay. I'm going to stay confused.
So the idea
This
is
my natural state.
if you make something popular and it becomes popular, you can get rich from it being popular.
Okay. See,
that's mind blowing.
yeah. Where my mind was, it was okay. You download this app and you start using it, and you're only going to make $50 a month until you get.
We're talking about the developers. I was talking about developers.
I was thinking along the lines of Bitcoin
it's
or something like
I'm
that.
reading the headlines, guy. It happens every week. All right, been doing it for years.
What?
Apple has expanded innovative restore fund with TSMC and Murata. Apple welcomed key manufacturing partners TSMC and Murata Manufacturing as new investors in the restore fund. Would you like me to tell you a little bit more, Guy?
No, because I understand that Murata is also going to be the name of the next Pixar movie.
Then we're good. I think we can move on to the next one. Definitely. I think you've just about nailed that.
Nailed it.
I won't. No, I won't. Epic Games caught. I love this because Karl just keeps dropping out of picture because of all these wonderful stories that he loves. Epic Games asked the court to hold Apple in contempt over a weak App Store anti-steering changes. Even though Apple just reinstated Epic's developer account in the European Union, there's a lot more drama to come.
What? From Epic?
Epic is happy with Apple's changes, which allow it to link to alternative payment options, but with a catch. More to come, I think. More to come. Apple said, Apple said, will you let me finish?
Yes.
Would you let me start?
Yes.
I suppose is the next one. Apple said iPhone driver's licenses would expand to 8 US states 2 years ago. Okay. Apparently it's not happened yet. So in 2022, Maryland and Colorado, if I could speak, went with it, and Georgia since 2023. But apparently these committed states that haven't moved forward are Connecticut, Hawaii, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Utah. So we'll see when that
hasn't happened yet. And chances are a lot of people in these states still won't do it, because that means if you get pulled over, you have to hand your phone unlocked to a police officer.
Which means they could look at anything.
Exactly. It's like, well, how could that work against me?
But surely Apple should give you the option to be able to say, yes, here's my ID with all the information on it, only screen.
And have everything else locked.
Yeah. Apple buys Darwin AI ahead of major generative AI updates coming in iOS 18, apparently.
Maybe.
Spotify, and perhaps we might have some user feedback or listener feedback on that later. Spotify complains that Apple hasn't approved update with subscription pricing and links in the EU. Apple has not approved a Spotify app update that adds information on subscription pricing and links its website. Spotify complained, can't believe it, today in an email to the European Commission. Spotify has said that Apple has not acknowledged nor responded to its App Store submission. Well,
yeah,
just get in line like all the other app developers. Spotify.
No, they honestly, Apple at this point should just say, okay, as long as you're not linking it through Apple's payment, who cares? You want to use somebody else's payment. You want to make somebody else on our phone have to jump through those kinds of hoops. Fine, but at that point, we no longer can guarantee that your phone is going to be safe because you're leaving our ecosystem. So if you wake up one morning and suddenly your bank account says 0, don't come complaining to Apple.
Well, I don't know if it'll be that extreme, was it? I mean, lots of people systems outside of Apple and they don't get totally ripped off. But I see, I can understand.
No, it happens every single time, Karl. Every time.
I can blame it on. Fantastic.
We don't do rumors, but I kind of like this rumor, I think, because I still get lots of people when I just go, I raise my arm and put my wrist against the payment card, I still get a lot of people go, huh, that's magic. Well, there is an Apple Ring rumor.
Uh-oh.
A smart ring. I think that the chips are getting close enough, i.e. small enough, to be able to create such a ring. And just think, when you're actually raising your finger to pay, I wonder which finger we're going to put that ring on.
He'd be like, I'm going to make my mortgage payment.
Yeah. It's not a natural ring finger, but it could become one.
And it's yet another
on,
Apple
Carl,
device
you were going to
that
say
will be
something.
impossible to update.
Too rude. Sorry.
No, we're good.
No, you're not. Believe me.
When is I'm just thinking, oh dear, I'm just thinking about the charge card possibilities. When is Apple Vision Pro coming out in the UK or elsewhere? That's a headline. That's a headline.
Who are they asking?
Possibly themselves.
Exactly. What?
That's when is Apple Vision Pro coming out in the UK and elsewhere? Question mark. That's
the
headline.
Paragraph. Folks. We don't know, because that's the end of the article.
Yeah, that's
no.
They make you read all the rest of it first.
Well, yeah, it makes you read all the rest of it. Yeah. I mean, it's quite a big article actually, but good grief. Ex-Apple software engineer has been convicted of threatening FBI agents. A former Apple software engineer was convicted of threatening FBI agents after he asked the agents to investigate the company. A federal jury convicted Brian Broderick on March 8th of threatening the FBI following a 1-week trial. There you go.
How do you threaten the FBI?
The 32-year-old Santa Cruz man
You've got to do it one agent at a time. It just takes a long time. I don't like you.
Well, you might be right. It might be right. He said because he contacted the FBI repeatedly in 2021 and 2022. I mean, it'd take that long, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, each field office has a couple of hundred agents, so yeah. Go on a tour.
Well,
you know,
Apple have filed a restraining order against him. Accusing him of harassment, and a 3-year restraining order has been issued. Great. God.
What does it restrain him from? Going to Cupertino or like every single Apple store, or hanging out at Tim's, drinking a latte or something?
Why do you ask me these questions?
I don't know. It's what happens.
Apple's butterfly keyboard repair program for MacBooks is nearly over.
Uh-oh.
If you need it repairing, get it fixed. Former Apple exec named CEO of new sports streaming service from ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers, Pete Distad, or Distad, or Distant. Whatever his name is.
He's hard to find because he's very distant.
He's an experienced leader in media, sports, and technology.
But only from a distant.
Boom. Apparently, a former Oculus head has called Apple Vision Pro an over-engineered dev kit.
Oculus head, is that an alien of some kind?
It is.
Okay.
Apple are to pay. I like this story. In fact, I'm going to come back to
Carl speak. Will you let Carl speak?
Sorry, go on, speak, Carl.
No, I just imagine him saying it, his feet and shaking his wrists. That was all.
That felt good.
You can now browse Vision Pro apps on the web. Apple today have made the Vision Pro App Store available on the web, giving Vision Pro users and prospective owners a way to see what apps are available for the device. And finally, Apple are to pay $490 million to settle a claim that it misled investors over sales in China. Only in the UK, guy.
Oh,
A company,
the eastern part of the UK.
The company denied that Tim Cook deceived investors when he said the iPhone sales were strong weeks before the revenue warning. Apple has agreed to pay $490 million to settle a class action lawsuit alleging chief executive Tim Cook misled investors about a steep downturn in iPhone sales in China that culminated in a jarring revision to the company's revenue forecast. The preliminary settlement, basically, this is a pension company that was using and trying to make money off the back of, obviously, iPhone's position in the marketplace, and they obviously put a load of money in because of strong sales. They weren't strong sales, they lost money, so they've sued him and they've been paid out. So they've put that money back into the pension fund. Company in Norfolk, I think it was. So there you go.
Virginia?
In fact, it might even have been a council. Am I right in that? Was it a council? Do you know this, Carl? Did you see this?
Know the story. Tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think it's a Norfolk. It might be Norfolk Council. Anyway, they've sued them. They've got the money back. It's gone in their pensions scheme, and that, folks, is the end of Gaz's snippet. I think I do.
Enough, the mayor of Norfolk now has a great big new house. I don't think they're related. I'm not saying that they are. So don't sue me.
I think I have a Gaz's link. So I've put the link in the show notes. Now, a record breach of French government exposes up to 43 million people's data. Zut alors!
That's what I was just laughing about.
Zut alors! Department for Registering. That's in the article as well. I haven't added that. The Department for Registering and Helping Unemployed People has been broken into. Now, I gotta say,
what do they think they're going to get from these people anyway?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I am being a bit, they might have lots of money to pinch, but probably not the best.
Probably not.
However, it could be that they're going to try and sue or get money from the French government to give them their data back.
Karl, what do you think of this story? And can you say it in a bad French accent?
Nerd.
That's the end of Gaz's link.
Oh. See, this is why I love doing Gaz's snippets, because it just leads in so many different directions. And for people who aren't aware, Gaz does not put any of the snippets into the show notes, so I have no idea what he's going to say. And that's on purpose. Frankly, there's lots of things.
You do know you've just admitted you don't look at Apple News through the week.
Did I? Did I say that?
I'm not saying you don't know the news.
However, that's probably true. God, I feel like traveling, and that's a good thing because Zoom, that's part of what we're going to talk about this week is travel stuff. Going on an overseas trip can be a lot of fun, but if you're going someplace that uses different voltages or plugs than what you're used to, that's when you need to jump into the wild world, guys, of power converters. If you're going to Europe from the US, here's a plug that is supposed to work nearly everywhere in Europe. It gives you one 3-prong and one 2-prong, and I'm talking about US, 110 VAC output, 2 USB-A, 2 USB-C charging ports with 5 volt DC, 3.5 amp outputs. And this will also work with small appliances. And this is I don't even think I can say the name of this, Mapambo Converter. It's $33 over on Amazon. And when I was looking at this stuff, I was thinking more along the lines of portability, because when you're traveling, you don't want to have to carry yet another big, like, Zero case filled, one of those big hard shell plastic cases filled with all kinds of gear, my podcasting equipment notwithstanding. But that's only $33, and there'll be links to all the stuff that we talk about that's going to be in the show notes. Now, if you have a little more room, you can try the Bestek 250 watt power converter. This also gives you 3 US style power outlets, 4 USB-A ports, and will work in nearly any country. That is $36. The key power, this is something that's just a little more portable, has 3 US outlets, 4 USB-A outlets, and with all the adapters that you'll likely ever need outside of probably North Korea. And I don't have the price for this one listed. Let's hit that real quick. Open link. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And that is 41, 42 bucks, which is not bad. So the way that this all started was, Gaz, you got a question from somebody out in the wild world. Who was that from?
That was from Eric Diaz.
Yes, boy, we haven't heard from him in a long time. Eric, call us, write to us, let us know you're okay.
He reached out to me. He did.
Okay, good.
Do you want me to crack on?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so as we've said, the message came from Eric Diaz.
Yes.
And here's my response. This is basically what I said to him. I said, you don't have to worry about the voltages too much. I think it's 110 volts in Europe as well as it is in the US, I think. And it's 240 volts here, but just about all modern equipment can handle the differences. I've traveled to the US and EU many times and just basically plugged in through a wall adapter, plugged in, and it's been fine. I think about the only issue could be on razors, because there's often, and we have them here in the UK as well, we have the adapters on there and they go 110 volt or 240 volt. So I think those are the only place where you've got to be a bit careful with razors. But, you know, the question came from a Mac and adapter using for USB charging, all that sort of stuff. The biggest thing that I'd say is get a decent adapter. And I mean from a reputable company, because it's much more safer for your equipment. And more importantly, it's much more safer for you. I've always used and liked a brand called Skyros. That's SKROSS. I've said it's not the cheapest, but actually I've just looked at a link for an adapter here in the UK, which I'm going to refer later in Gaz's pick. But Skyros, I've got a link in there for the World Skyros website. Whether you can buy it from them directly or not, I do not know, but you can buy the Skyros adapters from most places. The thing that I've done, or that we've done, is that we get one adapter like this rather than having lots of adapters for lots of different products, and then we buy an extension cord. Not just a cord, but an extension lead with lots of plugs in it. And then you don't have to worry about converting all of the products, because you just plug into that extension lead, which you've got. And many extension leads also, this sort of day and age, come with USB adapters as well. They got USB chargers in them. But the Skyros one as well, I think that does come with an option which also has USB adapters in it. So it's like a double, triple whammy from the Skyros one. So my advice to anybody traveling and you don't know where you're going is possibly get a travel adapter and then make sure that you've got an extension, because I'm always doing it. Where even in the UK, I do it. I basically take an extension lead so that we can just plug all of our USB required powered devices into that.
I never know where I'm going.
You don't know where you've come from.
Yeah, it's like, well, I was over there somewhere, and now I'm going over there somewhere. But the thing I was just thinking about was, if you have a 220 Razor and you plug it into 110, it's going to go half speed. It's like, rip your face off, man. That's what it's going to do. Another concern can be power surges and drops. Now, most Macs and Apple equipment can handle it through their chargers, just as they do auto switching between 110 and 220 volts VAC. But if you're using any third-party equipment, it might not be so lucky. So if you're going into an area that has these kinds of problems, And I'm talking mostly certain parts of the Middle East and certainly certain parts of Africa where your power is going to fluctuate quite a bit. You can run into these kinds of problems. And so you may need a power conditioner. Most of them are kind of big and bulky, but I found one that's not only portable, but has 5 US style outlets. It's from a company called Access, and it's $46. And it's got like 5 long leads coming out of it. So it's not like if you have those big transformers or whatever it is, the step down from 220, 110 down to either 5 or 12 volts DC. You don't have to worry about it covering up one of the other plugs because this just has like 2-3 foot leads coming off of it. And for $46, that's not too bad. Now, the crazy thing is we're talking about mostly converting AC power, going from either 110 to 220 or 220 to 110. And the thing is, most of your equipment is going to run off either 5 volts DC or 12 volts DC. Everything in the world of electronics pretty much runs on 5 or 12 volts DC. So you have this influx of power, whether it's 110 or 220, that gets stepped down to 5 or 12 volts DC, depending on the equipment that you're using. And that never changes. And the nice thing about these converters is even if the power somewhat fluctuates, it can usually take those fluctuations and keep giving your devices a steady output of either 5 or 12 volts DC. Karl, you've traveled a bit, haven't you?
No.
Have you ever had to worry about these things?
I've been to America and a few places.
I'm sorry.
In Europe. I know it was okay. But other than that,
I mean, I live here. I don't have a choice.
Yeah, actually, the only thing I do when it comes to power is I basically follow what Gaz suggested, as I buy a power adapter from a reputable source, not something off AliExpress I've never heard of. And then the first thing I do is plug someone else's equipment into it first, just to make sure. And then
something you can afford to lose.
I like it.
Yeah.
So you buy it in the shop, and then you get the guy behind the counter to plug it in, and they say, "Have you got anything that you could just plug in to make sure it works?"
I like it. But then when we get to the
have him do it,
I get the
I'll
family.
Just stand over here about 5-10 feet away.
Exactly.
I'm sure it'll be fine. So
the only other thing that I would say is if you can find yourself a long USB, whatever, there's all sorts of adapters that you can get to whatever your port is, obviously Lightning or USB-C. And if you get a long cable for that, that can be quite useful as well, because sometimes you just don't have the plug in the room in the right place that you're stopping, and you need to have to trail a long lead somewhere. So just think about that as well.
Well, and for that matter, also think about if you have multiple Apple devices, what can you use to reduce the number of cables that you need to charge these devices back up? When I travel, and we actually I told you a funny story about it. It's this device that kind of folds together, opens up, and it'll charge my phone through induction. It'll charge my watch through induction. And it'll charge AirPods and AirPod Pros through induction. It's like $30 over on Amazon. And the funny part of the story was I was trying to figure out how I was going to use it with my watch, and I'd forgotten that it was like this little flip out thing. So I'm like trying to push my watch down on some of the other induction ports, thinking, how does this damn thing work? And it wasn't until I actually looked it up. I got my computer out and looked it up, and somewhat sheepishly told my wife, says, "Oh yeah, I got to do this." And it was like, and my wife just looked at me like, "Yeah, and you're the techie guy." And it's like, yeah.
She probably gave you one of those looks that I give you on a regular basis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because I need more of those in my life. All right. I think we're ready to move on. Unless you got something else, Karl.
No. I mean, I don't really know much about the power. Like I say, I literally just plug it in and hope if it doesn't blow up, we're good. So
Hey,
basically it.
Gaz, do you think he's nodding his head?
I think he is actually. I can see him nodding his head. Yes.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Okay. Have you ever looked at changing your key functionality or any of your key
Lots
functionality
of
on
people
your
have
Mac?
said that to me. Oh,
Will you
Mac,
let me
sorry.
finish? Your key functionality on your Mac. Well, on your Mac, you can do a lot more than you think. However, the reason this came up is that someone asked me if you can stop the caps lock from doing what it does, because basically, well, I don't know about you, but sometimes, especially if you're typing away and you look up and you can see everything's written in caps. Normally that happens actually once you've been writing a really angry email. Anyway, if you go into system settings, scroll down to keyboard or search for it, of course, and then click on keyboard shortcuts, you'll find a whole plethora of toggle switches and some changes to keys that you can make. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them here, just the caps lock key, as that was what I was asked for. So in your keyboard shortcuts, go to the option for the modifier keys, and you'll see a selection of options. The top one, hopefully, is caps lock key. Next to this, there is like a little up and down, like the top hat and, well, top bottom, then I should say, if it's, you know what I mean. It's like a selection up and down arrow, a clickable option where you can select several different versions or options to change the function of the caps lock key. The last one being no action. Well, if you select this, you'll never again look up from the keyboard and scream as you see that the last 2 or 3 sentences you've written are all in caps, unless of course you want to.
Yeah.
And that's it. You're done. Fixed.
Yeah,
and there are lots of other options in there.
I am not a touch typist. I have to look down at my keyboard while I'm typing.
Me too.
So
Me too.
when I look up and I see like the last 3 or 4 sentences are in all caps, it makes me wish there was like some program out there that would say, take all of these things that are in caps, bring them back down. But as far as I know, there's nothing like that.
Well, I've probably got a tip about that next week, but this stops it even ever happening, Guy. Don't you agree?
I do. Carl, what do you think?
Head, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, well, there was a slight nod. So
That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Okay, good. We are in sync. We're in sync. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't have a for pick's sake this week, but Gaz does.
I do. Okay, so it's basically that Sky Ross or Skaros, however you pronounce the name of the company. It's their, I think it's their MUV USB adapter. The link that I've given you is for the adapter off the USB, off the Amazon store in the UK. But if you search for MUV USB, you should be able to find it. It's just under £30, but it gives you all sorts of really good options. I've got one of these. I should have brought it down really so I could show you on the video, shouldn't I? But I haven't. So bad me. But I've had it for a long time. It's got the USB ports on it as well. I recommend it. Been good.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
And remember, if you have Scross, to see your doctor as soon as possible and get the medication required to remove it. Okay.
I got a pick.
Ooh,
Yay!
So at the moment, Steam have got their spring sale on. And if you go in there, there's a lot of Apple games, like mini games, like indie games sort of thing. And some of them are really good for the Mac. And they're really dirt cheap as well. I picked up games for like 99p over here. And it's really worth checking it out. It goes on for, I think it ends about midweek next week. And there's loads of deals on there to pick up. And you can easily see if they run on a Mac because they got a little icon of an Apple logo next to the price. So that's how you figure it out.
So you're really enjoying that Steam Deck?
Oh, I love it. It's the best thing I've ever bought. And I am including the iPhone in that.
How much is it, Carl?
What, the Steam Deck? I think I think it starts around 500 and it goes up. I mean, I got it when the OLED was announced, and so there was about 100 quid off the version I got. But it's literally a game changer, strangely enough.
Well, how big is the screen?
Well, it's I don't know. It's about 7 inches, isn't it? I think.
And you can hook it up to a TV if you want to play it on something bigger.
You can get a little dock for it. It's the USB port comes out there, and you can turn that into a display port and plug it into a HDMI connector or something like that. Like I've got one here, so it just clips into a dock underneath this monitor I'm using, and it just turns into a little computer run on Linux.
Nice.
It's awesome. I love it so much.
Now, I used to travel. It was a little device by Atari that was about that same size, and the Atari Lynx.
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem with it was it uses like 6 AA batteries, and it would go through those in about 2 hours. So if I'm on a long plane ride, I've got like this huge pack of AA batteries that I'm taking with me because I'm just blowing through them. And I actually ended up talking more about travel stuff, I actually ended up getting the AC adapter for it. So once I would get to, whatever my destination was, I could just plug that into something that would step the voltage down to 110, because that's the voltage that the transformer needed, and I could play my Atari Lynx games. And it was kind of like a deluxe Nintendo Game Boy.
So, Carl, how do you stream the games? Is it done over? Is it basically you don't download the games to the device?
No, you do. You do. I got one.
Right.
Hard drive, like SSD in here.
Okay.
All sizes. Yeah, and you download it, and even because you're playing at 720p on such a small screen, you can't see like the sort of shortcuts, because you can't obviously play like AAA games at ultra settings. But if you put them down to low, they run fine, like 30 to 60% frames per second and stuff like this. So I've been really shocked at some of the AAA games I can play on it, and of course, with the Steam sale on at the moment, and there's one every quarter, every season they've got one going on. Plus there's other sites out there where you can get cheaper games as well for Steam keys and whatnot, and bundles, and even Epic Games, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you can. There's ways of putting these non-Steam game launchers onto your deck as well. They're all on YouTube. You can go and look them up. They're easy to reply and do, and you can just grab that free Epic game every 2 weeks that they put out and just play to your heart's content. It's awesome.
Now, what about you? And you can hook that up to a TV set, right?
Yeah.
And will it accept like Bluetooth controllers and stuff like that?
Yep. It'll hook up to.
That is like.
I've got like an Xbox controller I use with it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. PlayStation.
The great thing about that, it's like not really that much more expensive than like a PS5 or whatever the latest Xbox is.
That's it.
And you've got the entire Steam catalog that's available to you.
And you can hook up a mouse and a keyboard, drop down into desktop mode, and you've got Linux running. Well, a version of Linux running. And you can do pretty much anything you can do. There's an app store on there. You can download, a word processor.
Final Cut Pro, things along that. Record a podcast. It would have to have a lot of USB adapters for it to work for me as a podcast device.
That's true, but that's why you get the dock.
See, now I want to try it. Damn it. Damn you, Carl. Damn you, sir. Unless you know of anything, Gaz, I don't think we have any feedback this week.
I thought you had some feedback.
That was all from last week. I forgot to remove it. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. You're right.
No.
Oh, I'm such a fool.
You are such a fool. Have you not put it into your Farrago?
I did not.
Right, while you're putting it into Farrago,
Yeah,
I'm
go
just
ahead.
going to ask Karl a few more questions. You concentrate
ahead.
on getting it into Farrago, and I'll. So okay. So can you back it up then, Karl? I presume you can back this up in case because if you download a load of games and then the thing goes tits up, I presume you can back the hard drive up.
I don't think so. You just like re-download the game afterwards.
Right. Okay. All right. So I mean, I presume that you're mainly just using it as a games console rather than you said you can use it as a like a desktop as well, but it's more of a games app for you.
It is. That's just an added bonus. The desktop.
Yeah.
But,
I like the idea that you can probably just plug it into your HDMI. I've just got one here which is connected to my screen, always spare, because whenever the girls come around and they need to work at the desk, they can just plug in with their laptops and so I could use it on that. Excellent.
Yeah.
See, I want one now. Damn you.
It's awesome. And then of course you can play online with your friends and everything. And
Left 4 Dead.
Yeah. And did you know Steam has this option in some of their games where you can share the game remotely? So you ask them to join. You own the game. It's only available on select games, but you own the game. You play it. You stream it to them, and they're like as if they're on the couch next to you. So any of those local cross,
do they also have to have the game?
No, you have
to. Is it limited to Windows, or can you do it on a Mac as well?
No, on Steam. So as long as it's played via Steam, you're okay. I.e., Steam is open as you're playing the game from Steam.
Okay, so it's platform agnostic.
So your favorite game there, as far as I remember, Left 4 Dead 2, that's one of them. That's one of them.
Love that game. Did you know that there's a map that takes you through Disneyland?
Yeah. I knew we'd get off topic.
Yeah.
So Karl, you're going to send us a link for that. Is it the device that you're sending us the link for?
Well, I mean, you can only get it from Steam, so it's the same place. So Steam.
Oh, right. Okay.
Steam having their sale, and as far as I know, that's the only place you can order the device from.
Okay. The Steam Deck. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Cool.
And in all of that big talk, I have NC Greg's comment, who has sent us another one. Thank you, NC Greg. We really appreciate the fact that you give us this feedback. And we would love feedback from anyone. And if you send that feedback and you're a first-time feedbacker, then you can get a Woo tea. And if you don't know what a Woo tea is, Karl, do you know what a Woo tea is, Karl?
Yeah, they're all over in my toilet. They're all up on the wall, just in case we run out of things.
Okay, well, if for people who don't know, it's a big W, big O, big T, little I, little E. That's a Woo tea! Exclamation mark, right there. All right, well, here's NC Greg.
In case you run out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm not even going to go there. All right, here's Greg's comment.
Hey guys, it's Greg from North Carolina.
Hello, Greg from North Carolina.
I just listened to the last MyMac podcast, and I forget the number, but I wanted to call and defend Spotify just a tiny bit, or maybe just point out something maybe y'all hadn't considered. Y'all were writing on Spotify pretty heartily about their decision not to do whatever it was for the HomePods. And when they were asking Apple to do things, for Spotify. Well, let's think this through just a minute. The HomePods didn't exactly set the world on fire. They probably are not the top 1 or 2 selling smart speaker. And probably among HomePod owners, a bigger percentage of them are using Apple Music instead of Spotify. So if you really think about it through that lens, the HomePods may only be 1 or 2, maybe 2 or 3% of Spotify's user base. And I don't really think we can fault them too much for not wanting to expend whatever resources would be necessary to alter their code specifically to sound better on HomePods when it's that small a portion. If you look at it from the other way, I'll bet you the percentage of iPhone users that use Spotify is probably bigger than the percentage of Spotify users that use HomePods. So, maybe we can give Spotify a little bit more of a pass on that particular front. Not to say that they're perfect on everything, but at least on that one thing. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Really enjoyed the show. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Greg. Now we are going to turn your comment and just rip you apart.
I was just going to say, Greg, what is wrong with you? Why are you sending in such a coherent and reasonably based argument
How
to the
dare you.
G-men, for heaven's sake?
How dare you, sir?
The problem is I don't know how you is initially
This was.
Spotify was saying, well, it's not fair. You're not letting us develop for the HomePod. So Apple went, okay, you can now, here's the things, you can now develop for the HomePod. And then Spotify went, we don't want to develop for the HomePod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, stop complaining about something that's already there.
I understand where Greg's coming from, and kudos to the well put over argument, Greg. Thank you very much for that, but we disagree. Well, we don't disagree.
No,
we just think that
No,
the
I think
argument...
we are
okay. We disagree.
It's just that first thing. It's just that first day, listen, where they were initially complaining.
Yes. Yeah.
Do it. So then Apple opened it up, and then they said,
and they didn't.
I'm not doing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, just
because you let us, we don't want to. No.
No. How dare you? How dare you do something we asked you to do?
To let us do. Yeah.
Yeah. There's that.
As well.
Okay. Well, thank you, Greg, and please, everyone else who's listening, we love feedback, whether it's well put, such as Greg's, or completely incoherent, as sometimes we get from Marcus. Thank you, Marcus, as well. What? Marcus makes me work too hard. Every time he sends in a comment.
Yes. Oh, yes. I get it. Yes.
Yeah,
Thanks, Marcus.
I have to
Keep
work
going.
so hard.
Keep going, Marcus, please.
Yeah. Make me work harder, Marcus. Thanks. But we love feedback of all kinds. You don't have to agree with everything we say. As a matter of fact, we would find it highly suspicious.
What? Hang on, no. When's this come from? You must always agree with the podcasters you listen to. There's a law somewhere, I'm sure of it.
Nah, we don't care.
What did I do?
Really? Well, I mean, heck, I mistook Bing for a browser 2 weeks ago. So, I'm just like, it doesn't. You don't have to agree that Bing is a browser, because it is not. Which Greg also took me to task for. Thank you, Greg. But we do love the feedback, good, bad, or indifferent, and we hope that when we get to the part where we talk about how to do that, that you will take full advantage. But if you would like to contribute to this show, not that we're going to stop if you don't, because number one, we love doing the show, and number two, we just want to torture as many people as we possibly can. You could support us by going to patreon.com/MacParrot. There we go. Okay. You can also go to ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or all of you can pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. Now, before we get to us, let's talk about Karl for a minute.
Well, I'm 6 or 7.
Karl, if people wanted to contact you and say, what the hell were you thinking when you agreed to come on this show, how would they do so?
Well, they can just in touch with me, on X, Claw01, okay? Or you can come and listen to the Mac and Forth show, which is available on your favorite podcatcher of choice.
Great show.
Thank you very much.
And you have a very busy, is it a Discord? Not Discord?
Yes, we have a Discord channel attached to our show. A link is in the show description as well, and you can come in there. There's always conversations going on.
Yes, indeed there is. I kind of peruse from a distance and occasionally pop in to.
I need to go
the
in there.
Channel. It's good.
Actually, I guess I kind of need to create one for this show.
No,
maybe Tim Tim.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Greetings, Tim the
There are
Enchanter.
some who call me Tim.
Maybe he has already done so, and I just don't know about it. Gaz, if people wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
Ever so easy, Guy. Ever so easy. Just send an email to gazjz at
Guys,
mymac.com or on many of the social medias, including even Strava. I think you'll find me as Gazmaz as in Strava, for heaven's sake. Instagram, X, Threads, Twitter, Mastodon, the lot. I'm all there. Just look for Gazmaz. And if you can't find me, well, ping me an email to gaz@mymac.com and I'll point you in the right direction. See what I did there? Also, you can contact Guy and Gaz, that's GUYANDGAZ, on X. However, we also have an email address, which
do.
is feedback, FWEDBACK, at mymac.com. I have to try and say that as fast as I possibly can.
Never works.
Yet it never works to stop
never
Guy.
works.
No.
There's that stupid voice in the background that always It's not me. It's not me.
No, it's not you.
It's not me
Somebody.
No.
I don't know who the hell it was.
Anyway, Guy.
Yes.
His name was Guy.
Oh,
Wait, hold on. I screwed up.
Guy says, I like to go with Guy.
Pay no attention to that guy behind the curtain. He's the guy.
Guy.
Guy?
You remember Guy? Guy's the one.
If you want.
An email from Guy.
No fooling.
How would they do
thank
it?
you. Oh, God. I have stopped holding my breath when he does that because I swear to God I would pass out before it finally was over with. If you'd like to contact me, go to the email client of your choice, and you would send that email to at mymac.com. You can also reach me on the Zwitters. Just call it that, Zwitters. I am Mac Pettit, and I'm also Vert Shark over there on the Twitters. And over on Counter Social and Mastodon.social, you can find me as Mac Pettit. There is...
Oh, how many different social media places can they find you on?
Oh, God. I'm also on Threads, though I haven't been on there in a
So
while.
how many? No, I didn't know. I don't need a list of how many I said. That's a simple question. Just give me a number.
Well, it's simple, but then I have to go through them all in my head. And
Quick,
so many of them,
roughly.
I'm going to say 6 or 7.
God, I have to work.
Guy's the one. An email from Guy.
One more. There you go. Get the count right. There is also the website.
God, that took a lot of work to get to that, didn't it? Boy, oh boy.
Who started it?
Yeah, I should have known.
You should have known. You can also go on over to the website vertshark.com, where you will find all of the odds and all of the vids. It all goes over to YouTube, which is where all the vids are located. And actually, speaking of that, if you go on over to YouTube and you look up Vert Shark, yeah, that's it. The MyMac Podcast video and the Guys Daily Drive videos that I've started doing again twice a week can be found over there on YouTube. So like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Somebody I heard them say over there on the tubes of you.
Yeah, but you're supposed to say
I would
it on
really,
YouTube,
really
not
would
here, Guy.
The tubes of you.
Yeah. You're supposed to do the like, share, subscribe over there.
Like, share,
not
subscribe.
here.
Oh, I don't do that here. I can't do that here.
No.
Bet I can.
You're not allowed to do it here. We'll get sued.
Like, share, subscribe. And I think there is a phone number that Marcus and Greg from NC also know. And Gaz, what is that telephone number?
Well, the telephone number is 703-828-4677. Charles, could you say it in a normal voice so the less posh people could understand it, please.
Yes, me, lady. 703-828-4677.
Okay. Sure. That little bit of schizophrenia is brought to you today by Gaz. G-A-Z.
Like Sesame Street then.
Yeah. And the letter M. Okay. Thank you. This is the part where we say thank you to everyone who downloads and listens to the MyMac.com podcast and the Mac and Forth podcast. There'll be links to all of the great things that Karl does over there in the notes of show. That's where they'll be, the notes of show. For this episode, make sure that you check them out and check out Karl's podcast as well. And Karl and Gaz, you know what? I think that this week, I can't speak for any other week, that this week we were good enough. And it was close. This week, even closer, we were smart enough. And that invisible dog Wilf, doggone it, Wilf. People like us.
Did you hear that the guy who invented the throat lozenge got cremated?
No.
There wasn't any coffin at the funeral.
Oh God.
End.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.